Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with works you compulsively collect. You just can't stop obsessing over. And today we're talking about my very first opera that fits into that category. And not surprisingly, perhaps for some of you, it was Verdi's Aida. Yeah, because that was the first opera I ever saw. And oh my God, it just blew me away. And it still has. I saw it with Leontyne Price. I mean, what could be bad? And that's the one that's like my fave. So as with everything in this series, I'm going to give you my top 5. I've collected a bazillion Aidas, but I have to make some qualifying statements. I've gotten some comments saying that I should stay away from opera because I know nothing about opera. I am not an opera crazy person. I'm not. I'm just not. That's number one. Number two, I have no interest in historical recordings of air checks. Opera people follow singers obsessively more than operas. I follow works. You have to understand composers and works. I'm not artist obsessed the way a lot of other people are. That's okay. If they want to be, that's fine. But when it comes to opera, people will go and they'll get air checks and this and that. They don't care how bad the sound is as long as you can hear the voices. I'm not one of those. I'm just not. That's not my thing. Even though I may obsess over certain works, I will usually collect studio recordings, or occasionally, if something's in really good sound, live performances and things, I'll get those too. But I limit myself because otherwise, it's an all-consuming thing. And I'm a generalist. I like all kinds of music in addition to opera. The people I know who are, the obsessives about historical opera and broadcast and things like that, they can't do anything else. There just isn't enough time. There's enough time in our lives. So, those are the qualifications. But I still adore Aida. What a beautiful opera. Just fabulous and wonderful and lush and exotic and exciting. And it's got everything, huge crowd scenes of intimacy. And actually, Aida's not the most interesting character in Radames. Who gives a shit about Radames? Frankly, the real interesting character in Aida, as everybody knows, is Amneris. Amneris is the good one because she's the one who's got all the emotion. She's got jealousy and she's got love and she's got anger, and she gets to fulminate. In the Act 4, Scene 1, the judgment scene where she's all alone on stage and Radames is getting judged and she's shrieking and carrying on. And what do you do during that long orchestral postlude? She's going, vendetta del cielo, and it's and the whole orchestra starts going nuts. That thing, right? And I just love to see what the Amnerices, the Amnericiae, whatever they are, will do during that whole thing. Most of the time, they clip their hand to their heads and they start running hysterically back and forth across the stage while the orchestra's going, they do some sort of visible choreographic impersonation of hysteria. And it's usually hilarious, actually. What they really ought to do is just sit there in despair and stay in character. But no, they can't resist. There has to be some action. And she's the only thing on the stage. So, it's fun. Anyway, I love Aida. I remember reading, about the stadium performances of Aida. There was one of them happening in Italy when I was there decades ago, where they were going to, the featured character was not Aida or Radames or even Ramphis or Amneris or anybody. The featured character was a 20-foot python, an authentic 20-foot python. I'm not sure what the python was supposed to be doing, but they had this whole menagerie during the triumphal scene with all the chazarai that they brought back from Ethiopia. The Egyptians, they usually bring out their spoils, right? You've got slaves and ivory and stuff, and there's supposed to be this 25 or 20-foot python and elephants, and oh my goodness. I didn't get to see it. I wanted to. I really did. I wanted to see what the python was going to sing. But anyway, what are the 5 great Aidas that I hang on to, the ones I listen to regularly? Well, Price, Vickers, and Solti, that's the one. Not the second Leontine Price with Leinsdorf. It's not as interesting and not as well recorded, actually. The Decca one is better. We've talked about this performance a lot. I've mentioned it before as my greatest recordings ever and stuff like that. So we've had a whole discussion. Next is the one that a lot of you like better, which is Caballé, Domingo, and Muti, which I think is just fabulous. The Penguin people hated it. They said it was unfielding and metrical and unyielding and all that stuff. It was like crazy. It's just marvelous. And then there's the Zinka Milanov, Jussi Bjorling, Jonel Perlea, RCA one. The earlier one from the late 50s. Zinka Milanov was just a wonderful singer, and especially in her own mind, by the way. And that's a terrific performance. It's exciting and fun to listen to. Also, Mirella Freni, Jose Carreras, and Karajan with the Vienna Phil on EMI. Karajan, he did, of course, the famous Tebaldi Aida, which I never really liked. I mean, it's wonderful singing. I mean, Tebaldi is great, and Bergonzi is great, but I just don't like Karajan and the Vienna Phil. It's a Kolshaw production. It's supposed to have all kinds of wonderful sound effects. For some reason, it leaves me cold. And that's just me. I mean, I accept that it's a very fine Aida. I like the remake even better, to be honest with you. And then some people can't stand Freni in those roles because they say the voice was too light and whatnot. No, it wasn't. She did very well. She's a very smart singer, and the sound is gorgeous in that recording. I think it's just more enjoyable for me to listen to. And finally, just because, Birgit Nilsson, Franco Corelli, and Zubin Mehta conducting. Oh my, just because of Birgit Nilsson. The famous line about, there was skating on the Nile because she was supposed to be so frigid and cold. She wasn't frigid and cold. She wasn't. She just had, the voice like a laser weapon, and boy, could she sing. And with Corelli, too. I mean, Corelli it's a little weird. Okay, I take that. Granted, I'll accept that. But it's fun weird. And I like fun weird is good, I mean, sometimes I feel like hearing something different. Well, there you go. Because you can't question the ability and the artistry of the participants. It's not like they don't have the voices to sing the thing. It's just that what comes out is a little unusual and good for that. So there you go. So keep on listening, friends. Tell me what you obsess about, which operas you obsess about. And, but leave out all that historical junk, will you? I mean, no one's going to go running around looking for that stuff. I mean, these videos are not just about me. They're for the people out there. I want them to be able to listen to and experience these recordings for themselves. So try and think outside, the box a little bit about other people and what's going to make their lives enjoyable as well. So, but I say, keep on listening. I already said that, didn't I? Do it anyway, and take care of yourself. Talk to you soon.